nonsense people where they open their dirty mouth, their gutter mouth, they talk. They no get them.
In Ned Nwoko's house, I am nothing.
How true is it to say that Regina Daniels' mother sold her for money? For years now, people have talked about Regina Daniels' marriage. Some called it love, others called it business. But with everything happening, there's one person whose silence speaks louder than any other clip you can see on internet. And this person is no other person but Rita Daniels. Note that when things fall apart like this, most mothers rush out to defend their daughters immediately. But in the case of Regina, it's quiet, too quiet. And this silence is forcing Nigerians to ask the question, was Regina really married for love, or was she sold for money? To write on, don't forget to like and subscribe. Talking about Regina Daniels' mother's silence, if you must know, when this whole crisis started online, from the videos, the statements, and the back and forth online, we noticed that one thing was actually missing, which is Rita Daniels. For a woman who has always been vocal about her daughter's success and quick to show support online, her sudden silence now says a lot. People expected her to speak up, to defend her daughter, at least set a record straight. But weeks after passed and not a single word came out from her. This quietness has left room for plenty interpretation. Some say she's staying silent because she knows the truth and doesn't want to make things worse. Others believe she's afraid of what might come out of her mouth. A few even think she's protecting herself and not Regina. Whatever the case may be, Nigerians are not blind to the pattern. When things were good, she was everywhere, smiling beside her daughter in interviews, enjoying the spotlight. Now that things have turned dark, she's disappeared from the conversation entirely, without even dropping a statement for days. But before we continue, I want to ask this question. Was Regina Daniels' family rich before she got married to Ned Nwoko? Talking about their financial status before the marriage. Before Regina Daniels married Ned Nwoko in 2019, her family was not swimming in wealth, no doubt. That's not even a rumor. It's something many people in Nollywood cycles quietly knew. Her mother, Rita Daniels, was a small-time actress and producer in Asaba, struggling like most people in the local film industry. At that time, Rita also was serving as chairwoman at the Actors Guild of Nigeria in Delta State, a position that gave her some recognition, but not financially stable. There was interviews around 2016 and 2017 where she openly talked about how tough the industry was and how she had pushed her daughter to take up acting roles at her young age. She had said in an interview that her mother introduced her into the screen when she was just 7 years old. It was a family hustle, no doubt. Acting wasn't just a passion, it was survival for them. Things started changing after 2018 when Regina began appearing in more high-profile production. She had already built a young fan base online. But a real transformation came after she met Ned Nwoko, the billionaire businessman and also a politician who would later become her husband. Their marriage, which reportedly took place in April 2019, instantly elevated her family's social status. Her mother, who once juggled movie roles and local politics, began appearing in expensive outfits, flying abroad and associating with prominent politicians and public figures. The difference between their life before 2019 and after was quite massive, if you must say. And that's why people are today asking the deeper question. If the family was struggling before the marriage and suddenly gained comfort, access, and influence through it, how much of that marriage was really about love? And if its a foundation of union was built on the family's desire for stability, then her mother's silence now becomes even louder. On the other side, talking about his brother who got popular after the marriage of Regina and Ned Nwoko. Before Regina married Ned Nwoko, very few people even knew she had a brother. Sammy wasn't just a public figure. He wasn't popular in Nollywood, and his name didn't come up in any major entertainment conversations. Most Nigerians only began to notice him after the marriage, and that was when he started appearing in photos, videos, and eventually on social media as Regina Daniels' elder brother. It was around 2019 and 2020 that his name began circulating online. He started presenting himself as an artist and influencer, doing music and making public posts that gained attention because of his connection to Regina. The fame didn't come from his hard work, it came from being her brother. No doubt people still remember that period when the internet was filled with clips of families showing off cars, mansion, and vacation. Everything changed after Regina's marriage. It was like overnight, everyone in the family became a public figure. Her mother started getting movie roles and political invitation as well. On the other side, Sammy West began a brand himself as a celebrity brother, using Regina's name as a stepping stone to build his own audience. Now, during this new crisis, Sammy is one of the loudest voices online. He's been the one releasing statements and shaping pictures of alleged assault, but people haven't forgotten where it all started. They have seen how his fame was tied to his sister's success and her marriage to Ned Nwoko. And that connection makes his every post today part of the bigger story. Is he really concerned about his sister, or is he about the money her union to Ned Nwoko brings to the table? Talking about the drug addiction accusation on Regina by her husband. Asking the question, how did Regina, who once looked like she had everything together, the fame, the family, the children, a comfortable life, end up being accused of drug use? If you remember, when Ned Nwoko made this statement on October 2025, Nigerians were shocked. It wasn't just because of the accusation itself, but because it came from her husband. This is the same man who once called her his pride and constantly praised her maturity and grace. Hearing him talk about drug and alcohol abuse sounded like a complete opposite of what people thought they knew about their marriage. But if you look closely, it didn't come out of nowhere. The signs of pressure had been there for years. No doubt, Regina married very young. In fact, she was only 19 when the news broke in 2019, and from that moment, the weight of her entire family well-being rested on the shoulders of her. Her success became their success. Her lifestyle became their survival. Since that time, her family's comfort and image have been tied to that marriage and public standing. Every political appearance she made, every brand she represented, it wasn't just about it anymore. It was about maintaining a certain standard, a certain level of wealth and attention that had already defined the Daniels name. No doubt, this kind of pressure was quite heavy, especially for someone who was still figuring out her adulthood under constant public scrutiny. Behind her photo shoot and vacations, what if there was a lot of things expected of her to do by her family? The kind that can break her down anytime. So was she truly being treated like a queen in her family, or she was just the family golden ticket? The one that holds everything together financially. Now, people who once praised her mother's smart decision for allowing the marriage are now wondering if that same decision planted the seed for the chaos that we are seeing today. And with her mother silent, her brother shouting online, and her husband calling her out publicly, Regina looks like someone caught between loyalty and a collapse. A young woman trying to hold up an image that is already cracking. Again, the question is, was Regina sold for money by her mother? Talking about the abnormal wedding that took place in 2019. If you look back to 2019 when they both wedded traditionally, something has always felt off. For a union that involved a billionaire and one of Nigeria's most popular young actress, the ceremony was surprisingly quiet. There was no traditional event, no big crowds, no father walking his daughter down the aisle. Regina didn't even dress like a bride. She sat under a simple canopy in her normal attire, surrounded by a few elders and family members. There was no fanfare, no celebration that matched the level of her fame or the supposed joy of marrying a wealthy man. For a lot of Nigerians watching at that time, it didn't feel like a wedding. It looked like an arrangement. People said it openly online that it didn't look like a love. It looked like a transaction. If you can remember, before her wedding, Regina had been quiet on social media for weeks. When she finally resurfaced, she was suddenly Mrs. Nwoko. Her mother, Rita Daniels, was by her side and smiling in photos, thanking God and defending her daughter's decision. But many people noticed that she was also the one managing the narrative at interviews, shutting down critics and telling Nigerians that her daughter was fine. So the big question is, if you value your own daughter the way a mother should, would you let her marry into a home so quietly, so suddenly, without joy or pride? Would you let her wedding look like a negotiation table instead of a celebration of love? In conclusion, now that things have gone wrong, everyone is reacting differently. Her husband is speaking up publicly, her brother is fighting online, her mother is completely silent, And for Regina, she's carrying the heavy burden all alone silently. At the end of the day, no matter what the truth is, it's painful to watch. She's someone who grew up in front of the camera and was pushed into adulthood before she even knew about it or even understand what it's all about. Or maybe she thought she was securing her future. In all this, in trying to save her family, she must have lost herself. To wrap it up, do you think Regina's marriage to Ned was all for the money that her mother sold her for money? What's your take? These are the questions people have been asking, and I want to see your opinion or hear your opinion. Drop your comments on the comment section, and until next time, don't forget to like and subscribe.